It's exciting for me to be sitting here talking to you about a TV show that took so many years to develop.
So to set the scene, I guess, Revival is this newer, I guess you call it a sci-fi horror kind of show. Can I ask what drew you to this project or this script?
Source material. I'm a huge comic book nerd. I was a fan of the book before it was even talked about being optioned for a television show. So to know that Tim Seeley and showrunners wanted me as a part, like I was on their wish list, I just flattered as all hell. Like, so I'm really excited. It's excited for me to be sitting here talking to you about a TV show that took so many years to develop and I was magically a part of. Like, I think it's super neat.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Can you tease anything about your character and how it fits into this world?
So my character is your basic bad guy, and that's kind of what I tried to bring to the character. It wasn't necessarily about my character. It was to me, I was there to accentuate the heroes, the Cypress family, especially M, and give them an obstacle to overcome, to really get the audience to root for our heroes, and hopefully watch the bad guy die in a horrible, horrible way.
I feel like it's very clear you like comic books, talking about everyone
Yes.
in the vein of heroes and bad guys.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
is, is it more fun to play a bad guy? Is that sort of your...
100%. Yeah. It's not only more fun, I think it's almost like a little bit of a cheat. It's a little easier. The world I come from, it's infinitely more easier. It's really, really hard, especially in 2025, to get people to really love you. It's a whole lot easier to get people to hate you. There's so much hate in the world. So in pro wrestling, that can translate, and you can easily manipulate that. So I take a lot of the instincts and principles that I've learned in wrestling and mastered, and I try to apply them to any kind of acting role I do.
That's so interesting. Now, you do come from the wrestling world. I did read a little
Mhm.
bit. You seem to have a very successful career there. So that's interesting how you kind of can translate that into being an actor and into acting. Because I'm assuming in your wrestling persona, that's like a character too that you're creating.
Yep.
So when you're playing roles like this one, like an Anthony Cheek kind of guy, are you taking what you've learned from the wrestling into that, or are you trying to make it something new and or different?
I both, because they can kind of service each other. And what I've learned in because you know a lot of wrestlers don't want you to say that like we're actors. And truthfully, I think the secret is we're reactors. I When I'm in the ring, I'm reacting to my opponent or the referee or especially the audience. They're my boss. It's a lot more Broadway than it is television. It's live. Not a lot of people do what I do on a weekly basis. So it makes shooting a show like Revival honestly a little bit easier for me, my perspective at least. I'm not the director, I'm not the producer, I'm not anybody that has to deal with me. So to me, it's a lot easier because I can screw up and I can trip and I can fall and I can have a booger in my nose and they can just yell, cut, we're going to, okay, next take, like we're going to do it. There's no redos in the world I come from. So I find I'm more focused and I'm sharp and I'm on point when I know my lines and I know my character and I'm shooting for a television show or a movie.
Yeah, that kind of almost answers my next question. I did see your episode, and
Okay.
you do some fighting and some yelling. I feel like you get to
Yeah,
yell
that's what I do.
a lot. And I'm
Yeah.
wondering if that's like taken from what you do day to day. And
100%. Like I think if anybody else played Anthony Check, that fight scene would have been dramatically different. But I looked at it and I approached it like, I think this needs to be really physical and really violent for M. And everybody was on board with it. Like there's stunt coordinators and there's stunt actors, and sometimes actors and actresses will gladly step out and let them step in. And I felt like it needed to be more real. It needed to be Romy and me, and it needed to be her being really, really violent. Because you can do the Hollywood tricks and the camera angles and cover people with hair, but then you see it and it's a quick flash and it's, that's not the same person. Like, so it kind of takes you out of it. And I didn't want to do that to the audience. I wanted to make sure that they were fully engaged and they were seeing something that almost made them as they're watching. Because let's be honest, everybody watches TV now with their phone in their hand, right? So they're watching the TV and they're like this. And I wanted to make sure people went, oh shit, oh look at this. Oh man, are they really fighting? Oh wow, that's crazy. So that's kind of what I took from wrestling and applied it to anything I do when it comes to acting.
Yeah, so we talked about your love of comics, so it's cool that you get to bring this role to life. But do you have a dream role, a dream acting role from a
Mm.
comic book or?
You're the second person to ask me this today, and I still like I'm thinking I'm not really sure I have a really great answer. Like I feel like most of the big comic book roles have been. I mean, that's a blockbuster industry now. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark for Christ's sake. Like I'm not trying to say like I should be Captain America. That's not me. I'm not trying to say there's a role for me out there somewhere, and the universe provides it'll come across my desk eventually. I'm just tickled pink to be a part of a comic book that I'm a fan of that translated and got produced into a TV show. I think it's really neat.
Oh yeah, and there's so many great comic books out there that are more niche, less known. So it's
Yeah.
cool that bringing it to life. And I do feel like we're having a bit of a moment in this horror genre, translating the horror kind of comics
Hmm.
into the screen. So I think Revival is going to be a really exciting time for a lot of people.
It's been an amazing show so far. Like I'm so wrapped up in it. Like I can't wait to watch this episode.
Yeah, do you
Not
have
just because I'm in it.
well, it's good. I can tell you, I was riveted, like you say, although it's very
Thank
dark.
you.
I'd recommend the people out there watching it in the dark. I think
Oh,
that would
okay.
have even more of an impact. Um, but yeah, so you have this fan base that's already out there. What do you say to them to get them to watch this show, watch you in this show?
Oh, I have a pretty. I got a lot of strong soldiers out there. I got a pretty hardcore fan base. They'll watch anything I do. But I also think a lot of pro wrestling fans, CM Punk fans, are a lot like me. They're comic book fans. They appreciate different mediums, and they appreciate art. So if I had to try to convince anybody just solely based on like, hey, I'm in this, like, because I'm in it for such a short amount of time, I think everybody else that is in this show is so supremely talented. Like it was really a privilege of me to just to be able to play in their sandbox. So this is to me, it's a heartwarming show. It's about family, and I think everybody's been knocking it out of the park so far. It just so happens that I'm fortunate enough to be a small part of it as well.
And speaking of all the different things we're passionate about and love, you and I also have another passion in common, and that's live music. And I saw
Okay.
saw your little cameo in the Frank Turner music video you did for I'm a big Frank fan. I've interviewed him a couple times in the past. So just a personal question, like what kind of music are you into listening to these days? And
Oh gosh, I listen to all sorts of stuff. I mean, I'm a gym rat, so I always have headphones on. I'm always either listening to I go on long walks and listen to a podcast, or I have music, and I have my gym music. Um, and you could probably guess what a lot of it is. There's a lot of heavy stuff on there for when I'm lifting weights. I love punk rock, so Ramones and the Clash are like my base. More recently, I've been listening to a lot of Amyl and the Sniffers. I don't know if you've heard of that band.
yes,
Terrific band from
great
Australia.
live.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Every time they're like in anywhere near me, like I'm out of town, so I haven't seen them live yet. I really, really want to. Uh, I think that's like the one newer band that I've discovered and I'm getting into.